Hi kids. Okay, we're gonna start our first tutorial project today, and it's called Cube. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to Classroom, and you're gonna click on the links to the tutorial. There's a whole series of videos in the tutorial. So you're gonna do the first video, and when you're done with that, you're gonna move on to the second, and so on and so forth. It'll In the tutorials, it won't just tell you what to do to make the model, but it will also tell you how to save it or why things are there, and then it kind of explains some of the tools. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to save in Autodesk Inventor, and we're going to be saving to Google Drive file stream, which is a little bit different than what you might be used to, and it's a little bit different than saving things on the Chromebooks. Not too different. It works the same way in the concepts, but I think some of the navigation is a little bit hard to see. The icons are really tiny, so it takes some practice getting to know your way around. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to close your browser, and you're going to open up on your HP laptop. You can leave your browser closed on your HP laptop, leave your browser open on the Chromebook so you can watch the video, and you're just going to open Autodesk Inventor. So we can double click it. It's a double left click, so if you're using the trackpad, it's the buttons on the left-hand side of the trackpad that will open, or you can right-click and choose Open. If you get this message, this Autodesk privacy statement, just click I agree. Okay, so we have agreed with Autodesk and the licensing to share certain kinds of information. It's not your personal information, it's just information about how the application is being used in our area. Okay, so as you see, Autodesk Inventor is opening. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes, and you could see down in the lower left-hand corner, or that way, down that way, you'll see there's a little thing that says loading. That means that everything's working fine. It's just loading the software, and you should wait. It should be a little bit bigger so you know to wait and not to keep working. But if you get this screen, you're going to click Start Working. If you don't get the screen, you'll get this. This is what you see here is the home screen here, and these are all your tools. We are going to start by opening a new part, and then I'm going to teach you how to save it to Google Drive file stream. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on a new part, and you can see again down here in the lower left-hand corner where my cursor is, you can see that it's loading. So don't keep clicking on parts, otherwise you're going to end up with a lot of different parts over this little area. Is just going to be like tap, 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 tap. So you don't really want that. Okay, so here's your graphics window. Up here is the ribbon up here. There's lots of different tabs in the ribbon up top. So if you look up top on the screen where my cursor is, you can see all these different tools that you have. There's even more up in the application menu. But most of what we do is we use 3D Model, Sketch. When we're doing our working drawings, we use the Annotate tool. And then sometimes we use the materials menus to actually add color and material to our. It's not like coloring it. It's like kind of like, let's say you wanted to make it out of solid steel, you can make it look like it's made out of solid steel. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to save this part, because right now, if you look, it's just called Part 1. And if you're looking in a folder full of your work, it's going to be really hard to remember what is Part 1 and what is Part 7. So the first thing that we're going to do is save it. So up here, there's a couple of different ways you can save. There's a little icon up in the upper. I'm trying to figure out which way to point. This way, that way, whatever. I can't figure it out. Anyway, there's a little icon up here. You hover over it, and it'll tell you what it is to save. There's also a key command. You can press Control S at the same time, or over here, this is called the application menu. It's the file menu. It's just like on any other application. Click File, and there's a couple of things that you can do here. And what we are going to do is we are going to save the active file. So you can use that drop down or drop out and click that, but you can also just click Save. Okay. So this save, oh, that is not what we wanted. If you get a save as, go back to the file menu and click save. Oh, sorry, it's saying save as because we haven't saved it yet. Okay, so the first time you save, it'll give you these options. If you save it without selecting all these options, you can't really change them unless you manually go into the file and change the location of the file. So it's a good idea right when you make the file to make sure you save it in the right location, because then all you have to do is click Control S and then you can log out. You don't have to worry about where you're going to put it and if you'll be able to find it later. So right up here in the top of the Save As menu, it says Save In. Okay, so it's asking you what folders do you want me to save this in? And I don't want to save it into documents. I really don't. I don't want you to save it into documents either. So that would be saved on this computer. So you want to save it to your Google Drive file stream. So you click the drop down menu here, and then you go all the way down to find what we call the G drive. So click on that, and it'll save My Drive and Shared Drive. So you want to save it in your drive. So if you click on that, okay, nothing will happen, but then you can open that by double clicking it, or you can just right click and select open. So right now you can see it says My Drive, and you see these little cloud symbols next to the folders. It just means these are our folders up on the cloud. Now I have a lot of folders up in my drive. You might not have as many, or you'll have them with different titles on them. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to create a folder for this class. So we're just going to go up here, and if you hover over any of these items up here, of these icons, they're so tiny. Look how small they are. Okay, it says this is go to the last folder visited. This is move up one level. This means create new folder. So we want to create a new folder. So you're going to click here, and it says new folder. Now you don't have to delete that. It's highlighted in blue, so it's asking you to retype over it without deleting. So if I just start typing, I'm going to call this engineering, okay? Or you can call it tech and engineering. That's fine. But engineering is spelled with 2 E's, engineering, okay? And then, okay, now I've created the folder, but I'm still not in that folder, okay? The folder I'm in is my drive, just like the whole drive. And right now, these are all my folders that are available, but I'm not in my engineering folder yet. And to save something to the engineering folder, you need to be in there, okay? So double click on that, and you can see it says Save in Engineering, okay? If you want to go back out to your drive, you would click up one level, and it just brings you back out there. Okay, so find our engineering. It's alphabetized it for us now. Double click on there to get in there. Now, part 1 is a bad name for a part because I can't tell by the file name what this project is. I would actually have to open up the file or see a preview of it to see what it is. So what you want to do is you want to give it a name that makes sense. So the part that we're working on is our cube project, okay? And then I'm going to put a dash right next to it. You can't put any other punctuation besides dashes and underscores. So you can put a dash or you can put an underscore, okay? And then I'm going to put my first initial and my last name. And the reason I do that is because sometimes I ask you guys to turn your files in, and if I have your files on my computer, it's really hard to tell whose it was by the file name unless you put your first initial and your last name on it. So your project should be cube underscore, or you can use a dash, first initial, last name, and then just leave the file extension on there. So you can see that .ipt. The .ipt just indicates to the computer that's an Autodesk Inventor part, just like you would have a .doc file. That's called the file extension. A .doc file would indicate that it's Microsoft Word, or .docx. PPT is a PowerPoint. Later on that we're going to be using DWG files and things. Okay, so we're going to click Save, and that's it. You're saved. That's the end of this video. Thank you.